Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to our new members and welcome back to those of you that have been hanging out here for quite some time. This is the EQ Skills Clinic. This is a weekly teaching that we provide every single Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, just for you. So this is an opportunity for you to engage with some content related to advanced mindset, communication, relationship management, and leadership strategies. So all things emotional intelligence. Let me introduce myself. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Krista. Good to see you guys. My name is Dr. Shamala. I am a podcast host, Confessions of an Ex-Therapist, if you haven't listened yet. Media expert for national television. I was a past psychotherapist for 2 decades, and I am the founder of the EQ Code. This is a 6-month coaching incubator specifically for high-powered women that really want to access and execute on the skills related to emotional intelligence so that they can show up as their best selves, both personally and professionally. I am really glad that you are here with us today. I need to say something before I even start. So whether you're catching me live or catching the replay, first of all, let me know that you're here. Give me a wave, drop an emoji, give me a hashtag replay so that I know that you're tracking with us. But the second thing I need to say is, my friends, I have terrible allergies. They are the worst in the morning. So I probably spent the last 30 minutes before jumping on live to try to, drain all the fluid from my nose. This is probably too much information, but I will let you know if you hear me sniffling a little bit, if you see me grabbing my Kleenex, it is allergies. I've got these horrible allergies, and they seem to be getting worse the older I get. Today, we're going to be talking about communication skills, and we're going to spend some time really understanding and unpacking the importance of having strong, assertive, confident communication in our relationships. So the topic for today is this concept that I want to bring your attention to. The idea is this concept that it truly is okay to rock the boat. I want to say that again. I want you to take it in. Okay. So hey, Cheyenne, good to see you. I want you to take in this idea and this concept that it is okay to rock the boat. So what do I mean by rocking the boat? I think what's happened is traditionally, particularly as women, we have been socialized. We have received messaging, whether it's through family of origin, through the media, but typically we are told that it's not okay to rock the boat. That it's not okay to share openly how we feel. It's not okay to have an opinion that may not be popular. It's not okay to bring something up that may cause some tension, right? It may cause some tension or some disagreement. That essentially this whole idea that conflict is bad. Conflict is bad. And this is a very common cognitive construct that we have, particularly as women. And this cognitive construct actually has a tremendous impact on our ability to communicate effectively, right? And if you've been hanging out with me, you know that our ability to communicate effectively, our ability to communicate assertively, to communicate fearlessly I believe it's actually one of the core skills that we need in order to really unlock success in every area of our lives, right? Like if there's one thing that the women that I work with can get tripped up on, if there's one thing that they really look to me for support, it is this idea that, it's really around breaking those old patterns, those old narratives, and those old scripts around communication and our understanding of what healthy communication actually looks like. So what's happened for the most part is, for many women, we have learned to become silent or silenced in our relationships. We might be talking, we might be having conversations, but we don't necessarily know how to have honest, open, transparent, difficult conversations. And so this is the concept I really want us to talk about today. So I want you to think about this idea that silence is in fact a silent relationship toxin. So silence, keeping quiet, not rocking the boat, not having the conversations that you really need to have with the people in your life actually becomes a relationship toxin. And more than that, I actually think it becomes a toxin to your ability to contribute at your fullest capacity. It gets in the way of your ability to show up fully in your own life and really have that sense of personal agency. And I want you to remember, as we're talking about communication skills in particular, this concept, and really any concept within the communication skills set of teaching that I do, this concept applies both to your personal relationships as well as your professional relationships. If I think about my own career, if I think about my career as a therapist, if I think about my career in media, when I think about my career as, a clinic owner and director, and my work here inside of this community in particular, one of my greatest assets has been to invest time in really developing my communication skills. And when I say communication skills, I don't necessarily mean public speaking skills. That's not what I'm talking about today. Although, of course, those are important if we want to show up in some sort of on a public platform, right? But I'm not talking about public speaking skills. I'm talking about communication skills. How do you share your thoughts? How do you share your feelings? How do you share your desires, your opinions, your wants, your needs? How do you share those things with the people in your life? And again, as I'm talking through these concepts, what I really want you to think about is I want you to think about not just how do you do those things in your personal life, but how do you also do those things in your professional life, right? Are you avoiding difficult conversations at work? If you are there, I know that there are many coaches and clinicians and practitioners inside of this community. One of the things that I hear all the time from coaches, from clinicians, from practitioners, from those that are in a service-based industry, how do you communicate difficult things to your clients or to your patients? Right? How do you set boundaries so that you can serve from a place of abundance? Right? That's what I want you to really think about as we move through the teaching today. It's how are you showing up verbally in your relationships? So what happens, and what I see happening so often, is that we actually don't. We actually don't share our thoughts. We actually don't share our feelings. We actually don't share our needs, our boundaries, our wants, our however, whatever those are, policies, right? If we're thinking about that professional context, we don't share those things. We keep them quiet. We hope that other people will pick up. We hope that other people won't cross our boundaries. We hope that other people will just understand that, we're not available 24/7. We hope, we hope, we hope. We wish even, right? We might get frustrated when people push those boundaries. We might get annoyed when we receive, emails after hours. We might get annoyed when, we have, let's say, a client that just, wants 24/7 access to us. We might feel irritated and activated about those things. But what we don't do is have a clear, assertive, and direct conversation about what those needs, what those boundaries, what our thoughts are. So what ends up happening is that we fall into one of the toxic communication styles often. And that communication style is the passive style of communication. The passive style of communication. So when we don't share our thoughts, when we don't share our boundaries, when we don't share our needs, when we don't share with people how we would like a conversation, a relationship, an arrangement to go, when we don't share the boundaries or the context of how we would like to engage in a relationship, we fall into the passive communication style. And the passive communication style is actually marked by a sense of bottling things up. It's this idea that we can bottle it all up, right? We'll just keep it all inside. We'll hope and pray really hard that the other person gets the message. The passive communication style also has quite a bit of potentiality to lead into either the aggressive or the passive aggressive style of communication. But it's highly ineffective, as you can probably imagine. It's undergirded by feelings of fear, a fear of rejection, a fear of abandonment in personal relationships, a loss of intimacy. Right? So this tendency to bottle things up, this tendency to be passive in terms of your communication style, in terms of your relationship management style, in terms of your leadership style, the tendency to be passive actually creates a lot of tension in relationships. Right? When we're silent about our thoughts, when we're silent about our feelings, our needs, our boundaries, our desires in any relationship, whether personal or professional, what's happening is that we're actually breeding resentment and discord, right? We're actually fueling the tension in the relationship. And typically, here's the thing, one of the reasons most women choose to remain in the passive style of communication is because we tell ourselves, again, it's not okay to rock the boat. We tell ourselves it's better for the relationship if I remain quiet. It's better for, it's better that I don't let, my staff member know what my expectations are, right? It's better that I don't let my boss know what my boundaries are. Right? It's better that I don't let my patients or my clients know exactly how I'd like them to access my care and my services. Okay. So this concept of moving out of the passive communication style into the assertive communication style is absolutely critical. And when I think about the women that I work with, and particularly the women that I work with inside the EQ Code program, one of the things that we spend a lot of time working on is moving into the assertive style of communication. Why? Because when we are not communicating assertively and when we are falling into passive or passive aggressive or aggressive communication, what we're doing is we're getting stuck in a lack of intimacy. We're losing the opportunity for change to occur. And we never truly get to show up as our most authentic self, right? We never get to truly show up as we really are, right? You don't get to be the most emotionally intelligent version of yourself when you're stuck in passive communication. And it might sound funny for me to say that the passive style is a communication style because it might seem like you're not saying anything, but I want you to get your head wrapped around the concept that even when you're not speaking, even when you're not using words and you're not verbally saying anything, you're still communicating. You are still communicating. You're communicating that I'm okay with this, or you're communicating you can keep accessing me in this way. You're communicating, no, this is not a boundary for me, right? So every time we get stuck in that passive style of communication, we are breeding a lack of real intimacy, emotional intimacy in that relationship, right? We lose the opportunity for change to occur. We just miss out on the opportunity to renegotiate the relationship. And we never have the opportunity to really show up as our most authentic selves. So as you take these ideas in, as you take this concept in of it's okay to rock the boat, and maybe it's more than okay to rock the boat. What if it was actually good to rock the boat? What if rocking the boat not only is healthy for me, but it's also healthy for that other person? What if rocking the boat would promote a healthier work environment, right? What if rocking the boat would promote a better version of this relationship? So we want to begin to introduce this concept into our thinking, right? We want to always start at the place and the level of our thinking and our thinking patterns, right? So when you think about your mind, you think about your subconscious mind. That is the portion of our mind, that's the place within our mind where we have old programs running. We have old patterns, old scripts, old narratives, and we make choices. Our behaviors, our actions, and our results all flow out of the narratives within our subconscious mind, including what we say to ourselves about communication. Okay? So we want to begin to break these patterns. We want to begin to reprogram these old narratives, especially if you recognize that they're not working for you, right? Especially if you recognize that the ways in which you are showing up in your relationships is not working for you. It's not working for the people that you are in relationship with. Maybe it's not working for you professionally. If you recognize that the ways in which you are showing up is not working for you, then, my friend, I really want you to consider rewriting some of those narratives. So let's talk about how to do that, right? How do we begin to break the patterns of silence and passive communication? How do we begin to rewrite and reprogram our subconscious so that we're able to communicate assertively from a place of authenticity, right? So we're not forcing it, right? I'm a very, very firm believer that the emotionally intelligent woman actually embodies these skills. She doesn't just pick them up off a bookshelf when she needs them, right? She doesn't just access assertive communication in that one moment where she's got to have that one difficult conversation and she's about to burn out or she's about to explode. That's not what creates the emotionally intelligent woman. The emotionally intelligent woman embodies these skills. How? By accessing them from a place where she has reprogrammed her limiting beliefs. She's reprogrammed, she has rewired her thinking around herself, around the world, and around others. She has a renewed self-image that allows her to show up powerfully and confidently and radiantly and beautifully in her life, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the level of transformation that I want to invite you to think about. So how can we do this? I'm going to give you 3 tips for doing this. First, you want to get really clear and you want to identify your thoughts, your feelings, and your desires. And I think desires are so important. Our desires are so important to be in touch with. Because I think that for so many women that I have the privilege of working with, and even for myself, those moments where I have lost touch with my own desires, those moments where I've stopped asking myself, what is it that I really desire? What is it that I really want? What is it that I really need? Those moments in my life where I lose touch with my desires, those are the moments where I also lose touch with myself. So you want to start by identifying your thoughts, your feelings, and your desire. What do you desire, my friend? Right? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your life? Like, what do you really want? Okay? I just want you to start there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to select one thought, one feeling, or one desire that is low risk. I don't want you to start with the hardest one. Okay, I want to set you up for success if you are moving out of passive communication and into assertive communication. We want to set you up for success. Okay. So you're going to select one thought, one feeling, or one desire that is low risk. And often when we're talking about thoughts, feelings, and desires, sharing a thought is often the lowest risk. Okay. Sharing a thought is often easier than sharing a feeling or a desire if you're just beginning to access these strategies, if you're just beginning to move into this work. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you are going to share this part of yourself with that other person. So this could be a thought, it could be a feeling, it could be a desire. Okay. But you're simply going to share this part of yourself with that other person. This could be a colleague at work. This could be a team member, a boss. It could be your partner. It could be your mother. It doesn't matter who it is, right? But I do want you to pick a thought, feeling, or desire that is low risk. And I also want you to pick a relationship in which to practice the skill that is low risk. That's how we begin. So the work of transformation begins always for me with the mindset work, is really looking at our subconscious, what lies in our subconscious, and how can we begin to reprogram and rewire that. And then when we look at some of the more advanced micro skills around emotional intelligence, like communication skills, right? Moving from the passive communication style into the assertive communication style, the only way to begin to create transformation in those areas is to simply practice. So that is my charge for you today, is to really go out there and practice this, right? You may want to come back and listen to this again. I always recommend you take notes. But what I want for you more than anything else, as you are a valued part of my community, and as you engage with this content that I really believe is truly transformative, is what I want for you more than anything else is that you practice these skills. The last thing I want is for this to be a community where we share ideas, but we don't take action. Okay. It's very, very important for me that we have the insight, we have the science, we have the research, we have the evidence-based strategies here, and that we also have the ability to take action, to begin to implement these skills and these strategies. If you need help with any of this at all, drop a comment, send me a message. You know all the places where you can find me, whether it's here inside the EQ Lab or whether it's over on Instagram. Come find me, come find a member of my team. We are happy to support. I want to take a few moments right now to tell you about a really, really incredible training that we have coming up in just a few weeks. It's coming up at the end of June. So as you know, I am a big fan of doing 5-day training events. The reason I like to do 5-day events for training is because it gives us an opportunity to build on skills. It really gives us an opportunity for me to do some teaching and you implement. I teach, you implement. I teach, you implement. So we have another 5-day training coming up. It starts June 28th. 12 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be hosted right here inside of this Facebook group. You will need to register so that you can get the workbook for it. This training is called Unlock the Success Habits of High-Powered Women. And oh my goodness, I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am about this one. I'm really, really excited about this one. So in this 5-day event is really for that professional woman. It's perhaps for that clinician, that coach, that entrepreneur. It's for that woman that really needs to show up as her absolute best self in every area. Right? It's for that woman that knows deep down she needs to embody what it means to be emotionally intelligent. She needs to integrate a renewed self-image that allows her to unlock that next level of success. And that next level of success, it could be personal, it could be in your personal life, but it can also be in your professional life. So, what we know in terms of the research and the evidence, we know that 85% of our financial success is tied to our ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. 85% of our financial success is tied to our ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. These are emotional intelligence skills. Without these skills, we block ourselves. Without these skills, we're unable to contribute fully to our mission. Without these skills, we're truly unable to have relationships that are elevated, like really like high powered, high performance relationships. So this 5-day event, Unlock the Success Habits of High-Powered Women, is going to be your opportunity to leverage emotional intelligence to accomplish bigger goals and elevate all of your relationships. Okay. So if this resonates, if this is landing for you, I want you to register. I believe, yep, Krista. Amazing. She has thrown the registration link into the comments. You're going to want to make sure that you register for this one. We start June 28th. We go all the way until July 2nd, Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. If you cannot catch it live, there will be replays. We'll keep the replays up for about 9 or 10 days, something like that, inside the Facebook group, as we typically do. And I would absolutely love to see you there. Have an amazing day, guys.